Welcome to Sage Audio. Today we're covering how to mix vocals better. To get the most from your music, watch the entirety of each chapter for a complete understanding of the topic. Also, if you have a mix that you need mastered, send it to us to receive a free mastered sample of it with the link in the description. Multiband upward compression. For this video, none of the chapters are in any particular order, but they can be combined when mixing vocals. Also, some of these are on the more creative and experimental side, so use your ears and try these out for yourself. At the moment, there aren't any multiband upward compressors other than the free OTT plugin. So what I'm going to do is send my vocal to 3 different buses. On these buses, I'll place linear phase EQs and then isolate the lows, mids, and highs respectively. Now I can insert low-level compressors on each frequency range, upward compress heavily, and then blend these signals in with the original vocal. Let's listen and notice how this makes the vocal sound really full and provides an opportunity to equalize the vocal with these 3 bands.
Tell me, do you want it? I can be the one if you don't mind. Tell me, do you need it? 'Cause I'm dying to stay in your arms. Tell me, do you want it? I can be the one if you don't mind.
Use series de-essers. We often use series compressors, but we rarely carry this concept over to de-essers. So let's try a couple of de-essers out on a vocal. Since they both have unique algorithms, they'll capture the sibilants in slightly different ways, letting us more accurately capture high frequencies. Let's listen to these 2 de-essers on a vocal and notice how they work together to capture sibilants.
Tell me, do you want it? I can be the one if you don't mind. Tell me, do you need it? 'Cause I'm dying to stay in your arms. Tell me, do you want it? I can be the one if you don't mind.
If you're enjoying the video, consider hitting the like button. It really helps us bring you more videos. Transfer parametric settings to vintage EQ. When equalizing, we often use a parametric EQ because it gives us a better idea of what we're affecting, but we miss the subtle timbre that a vintage equalizer could provide. So let's start equalizing our vocal with parametric, but then transfer those decisions over to a vintage EQ. We can use the free plugin Burton Frequency Analyzer to see the curves of a vintage emulation and better match up its curve to that of the parametric EQs. Let's listen to a vocal equalized with a parametric EQ, then one with a vintage emulation that's been matched to the parametric settings, and notice the minute differences between the 2.
Tell me, do you want it? I can be the one if you don't mind. Tell me, do you need it? 'Cause I'm dying to stay in your arms. Tell me, do you want it? I can be the one if you don't mind.
Parallel delayed reverb. If we're not careful, this trick could make our vocals sound cacophonous, but with the right settings, following a short reverb with a very clean delay has a really unique and unnatural effect. We'll use a parallel track, then set up a short reverb, typically under 1 second. Then we'll follow it with a delay with medium feedback and very distinct delay taps. I find triplet 8th notes or dotted 16th notes work well. Lastly, we'll blend in the parallel signal. Let's listen to the effect and notice how it doesn't sound exactly like either a reverb or delay.
Tell me, do you want it? I can be the one if you don't mind. Tell me, do you need it? 'Cause I'm dying to stay in your arms. Tell me, do you want it? I can be the one if you don't mind.
Only a small percentage of people that watch our videos are subscribed, so if you're enjoying the video, consider subscribing. It's free and you can always change your mind. Multiband saturation. Use a multiband saturator to achieve different timbres and harmonics from different frequencies of your vocal. Depending on the vocal, I'll create 3 to 4 bands and pick distinct forms of distortion for each. For example, warm tube is great on the lows and will emphasize transients. Clean tube on the highs helps bring forward the brightness of a vocal, while warm tape will help to soften the highs. Let's listen to multiband saturation and notice how it can be tailored to emphasize very specific aspects of the vocal.
Tell me, do you want it? I can be the one if you don't mind. Tell me, do you need it? 'Cause I'm dying to stay in your arms. Tell me, do you want it? I can be the one if you don't mind.
Dynamically drive frequency into delay. Most delay plugins have some form of an EQ section, but if we set up a send and use an advanced parametric EQ before the delay, we can get creative with what the delay receives. Using the Pro Q3, I'll cut out lows while making my mids dynamic. This way, certain frequencies are emphasized in a program-dependent way. Let's take a listen and pay attention to how the delay sounds a little more distinct.
Tell me, do you want it? I can be the one if you don't mind. Tell me, do you need it? 'Cause I'm dying to stay in your arms. Tell me, do you want it? I can be the one if you don't mind.
Tuning without a tuner. If we know the key of our song, we can emphasize it with an EQ or a dynamic EQ. This way, the fundamental frequency becomes easier to hear and the vocal sounds more in tune. Next, we can add a saturator to create harmonics of the fundamental, which strengthens the effect. The more we emphasize in-key frequencies, the more in tune the vocal will sound. Let's listen and see if the vocal subtly sounds more in tune.
Tell me, do you want it? I can be the one if you don't mind. Tell me, do you need it? 'Cause I'm dying to stay in your arms. Tell me, do you want it? I can be the one if you don't mind.
Quick, lo-fi chain. So far in previous chapters, we've discussed ways to make a vocal sound better, but if you want to create a lo-fi sound, here's what to do. Start with an EQ, attenuate above 8 kHz and below 200 Hz, and boost 2.5 kHz. Then, introduce broken analog equipment emulation. Since we're heavily distorting, we won't need compression, nor will we need to DS since these frequencies were attenuated by the EQ. Let's take a listen and notice that only 2 plugins are needed to create a lo-fi vocal.
Tell me, do you want it? I can be the one if you don't mind. Tell me, do you need it? 'Cause I'm dying to stay in your arms. Tell me, do you want it? I can be the one if you don't mind.
Quick 90s pop sound. If you like the sound of 90s pop vocals, try this at the start of your chain. Use an additive EQ and boost 2.5 kHz and 12 kHz and up by a few dB. Then heavily DS, making the de-esser work a little harder than normal and achieving a compressed sound. Let's listen to it and see if it's reminiscent of that era of pop vocals.
Tell me, do you want it? I can be the one if you don't mind. Tell me, do you need it? 'Cause I'm dying to stay in your arms. Tell me, do you want it? I can be the one if you don't mind.
Simultaneously, gate and expand. Using a multi-band dynamics processor, we can both subtly gate and expand our vocal. With the Pro MB, I'll create my bands, then use expansion with a negative range to gate some low mids, and expansion with a positive range to expand the high mids. This creates a more dynamic sound than simple equalization, while still letting you shape the vocal's frequency response. Let's listen to the effects and pay attention to what changes in the frequency response.
Tell me, do you want it? I can be the one if you don't mind. Tell me, do you need it? 'Cause I'm dying to stay in your arms. Tell me, do you want it? I can be the one if you don't mind.
If you have a mix that you need mastered, send it to us to receive a free mastered sample of it with the link in the description. Thank you so much for watching.